You probably already know who and what the Yuuzhan Vong are because you saw the title and clicked the video. But if you need a brief refresher, they were an alien species cut off from the Force to a certain extent and used a bunch of biotech weapons, armor, and ships as they absolutely hated machines. They had a substantial force from the unknown regions of the galaxy before the Clone Wars and even invaded the planet of Zonomazekot. However, there was one point in 27 BBY where the Yuuzhan Vong could have invaded the galaxy, and it was during the Outbound Flight project where a Jedi and Republic group led by Joruus C'baoth planned to venture into the unknown regions. There were many intended goals, some public, others secret, and many at cross purposes with each other. C'baoth's original proposal, for example, as submitted to the Senate, was to discover new life forms and force sensitives in the areas outside of the Republic. One of C'baoth's private reasons, and one of the main reasons behind the Jedi Order's support, was to search for Jedi Knight Vergir, who had been captured by the Far Outsiders, known as the Yuuzhan Vong, on Zonomazekot from the invasion in the unknown regions 2 years prior to the Outbound Flight project. As the turmoil in the Republic worsened, C'baoth also began to speak of establishing colonies of Jedi in the unknown regions beyond the reach of the Republic, an idea that worried some Jedi, including Mace Windu and Yoda. The Senate had its own reasons for supporting the project. In the original plan, colonies were to be established in new territories that the Outbound Flight scouted, and in this way the Republic would gain a foothold in the unknown regions to grow further. This prospect of identifying possible threats from outside the galaxy before they reached it became so dangerous that it appealed to security-conscious senators who wanted these outposts. Palpatine had a personal agenda as well. He was working to destroy the Jedi Order, and saw the advantage of being able to eliminate a number of Jedi in a single attack far away from the public eye. He was also aware of the threat that the Yuuzhan Vong had possessed, which would have been provoked by the project, and he did not wish for them to be discovered before the galaxy was not strong enough to fight them, but his primary goal was to waste a couple Jedi. Palpatine sent Kinman Doriana to lead a Trade Federation task force of 15 ships into the unknown regions to wait in an ambush for the outbound flight. However, Doriana's fleet first met the Chiss expansionary defense forces under the command of Thrawn, and using superior tactics, the Chiss quickly subdued the task force in a battle, destroying all ships but the flagship. Thrawn then contacted the remaining ship, and Doriana explained the purpose of their mission, stating that the Jedi were a threat to the Chiss. Thrawn did not believe him, and Doriana was brought aboard. Once aboard, he told Thrawn of the real threat being the extragalactic species called the Far Outsiders, which of course were the Yuuzhan Vong. According to Doriana, if Outbound Flight were to succeed in its mission, then the Far Outsiders would be alerted to the Republic before adequate defensive preparations could be made. The Jedi, he said, were too arrogant to recognize or respond to the threat, so therefore they had to be eliminated. Thrawn knew of the Far Outsiders as the Chiss had fought one of their reconnaissance parties before. Doriana then had Thrawn contact Sidious, who reiterated the threat of the Far Outsiders and Outbound Flight. Thrawn decided to disable the vessel and force it to return to the Republic, or leave the galaxy through another route. He would then destroy it, if necessary, where he would eventually have to, as C'baoth turned to the dark side throughout the trip and imposed a Force user rule over non-Force users on the Outbound Flight, and of course did a lot of nasty stuff. But what if Thrawn had destroyed the Trade Federation fleet and not known about the Outbound Flight project? Well, then the Yuuzhan Vong would be discovered by C'baoth and be provoked into launching an invasion from the unknown regions. The Vong attack the Chiss, who are unable to hold back an entire Yuuzhan Vong force, which then comes into the known galaxy. And the state of the galaxy at this time sees a declining Republic completely unprepared for war, which will also spell opportunities for Palpatine. During the invasion, Republic security forces aren't enough to hold up against the Yuuzhan Vong, and the Republic starts to rely more and more on corporate security fleets like the Trade Federation, Commerce Guild, Corporate Alliance, and Techno Union. This would lead to these organizations gaining more power and influence within the Senate, as they are providing much of the galaxy's defenses. Additionally, the droid armies are going to freak the living crap out of the Vong. The course of the war would see Palpatine enacting mass militarization in the Republic, and of course his plans for the Clone Wars put on hold. But like I said before, the Yuuzhan Vong War is an opportunity for him, which I will elaborate more on a little later. Anyway, the Republic loses many Jedi in the early conflict as they have no idea what they are facing. Meanwhile, the Chiss are collaborating with Palpatine and the Republic to create effective bioweapons, which the corporate forces have no problem developing and using. The Yuuzhan Vong are, however, going to gain several strong footholds and depopulate worlds like there is no tomorrow. With that, Palpatine's approval ratings are at record high despite any objections to his handling of the war, as the galaxy is facing a war of annihilation. Overall, Palpatine would fight very dirty against the Yuuzhan Vong and eventually defeat them in my view, as the Republic enhances militarization and puts all resources towards their military, superweapons, and biological warfare in a total war stance. The aftermath of the war is where Palpatine's shenanigans and opportunism really comes in. As the corporate entities have put tons of resources into the war effort, I feel like Palpatine can manipulate their elements into a secessionist movement by the time the clone army is ready to be deployed from Kamino to support the Republic in a post-Yuuzhan Vong war Clone Wars. Here Palpatine would get rid of any remaining Jedi and Separatists to create his new empire. That is just my opinion. What do you think would have happened if the Yuuzhan Vong invaded the galaxy before the Clone Wars? Let me know in the comments, and thank you for watching.